one of the kinfolk coming to Laz for help for a friend of his named John, and the rest of you went to follow him to the site of whatever happened, and you found the human with a bite on his neck, mostly paralyzed, as he was dragged out of the alley by some of the other homeless, and he's been kind of wrapped up in a blanket. What would you guys like to do?
So sorry, I blanked it for a second. So we went inside the alleyway before we ended, or
Yeah, I think you guys were about to go into the alleyway, but that's where I ended it off.
okay. And so right now we're looking at Lass's friend.
Yeah,
Okay.
Is he dead?
he's not dead. He's
Okay.
still breathing.
And the bite is just clearly there.
Yeah, the bite is clearly there.
Does the bite look like two marks where a human would bite, or bigger, smaller?
It's about the size of a human bite. Like it looks human, but it has the distinctive mark of fangs. So it looks like a vampire bite.
Seeing that, his hand instantly goes to his gun, and he looks up and around and all around him.
How long ago did he get bitten? Or how long ago did you find him?
And Bill says, "Well, I ran to your place as fast as I could. There and back. About 12 minutes, 15 minutes ago now."
I don't think keeping him here is a good idea. He's gonna need attention.
Do we drag
Take him to the church.
Their church?
Take him to the church.
All right. He's gonna pick up the injured body, and he's gonna start dragging him to the church.
Okay.
Well, carrying him.
Oh, okay.
There's a whole group around him.
Yes. So it's Bill the kinfolk and then two other homeless. And as soon as you say to take him to the church, they start to pick him up. The human that was bit, he's paralyzed and still pretty stiff. So they're basically like they just basically prop him up and they're dragging him along.
So he's paralyzed, stiff, but still alive.
Yes.
Huh.
Does that mean anything?
I've seen many bites like this before. Well, a few. Normally they're not there, but this is very odd. I haven't heard much about it, like something like this before.
Sidebar with the storyteller real quick.
Oh, sure.
I know that Adrian was told a lot of stories as a kid growing up, and I know he was told about the Zemitzi. He doesn't really know much about the other vampire clans or anything like that, maybe a little bit about the Ravnos. Has he ever been told stories about the Anansi?
The Adanasi, like the other changing breeds.
Yeah, I'm specifically the spiders.
Okay. I'd say you've heard stories of the War of Rage, and you've probably heard a little bit about each of them. One story about the War of Rage is that the Adanasi started it by tricking the Garu to go into Malpheus, and by telling them that to attack this large crystal that they said was like the heart of the worm, and then it turned out it wasn't. There's a few stories like that say that kickstarted the War of Rage, but sometimes it depends on who you ask.
Okay. He wouldn't think that just yet.
Mhm.
Well, no, the poison. Yeah, when he says take them to the church, he means the one that they fall back to that's kind of part of the sept, by the way.
Oh yeah.
So he's going to ask the other two guys as they're walking, did anybody see this happen?
And Bill the kinfolk says, "No, I didn't see it happen. I mean, I grabbed these two guys as quickly as I could. We didn't see anything happen. I just noticed he was in the alley, kind of standing kind of funny, if that makes sense."
Yeah, he's going to go with them to the church, see if there's any kinfolk that can get, I guess Moon's Shadow would be your best bet. See if we can get a third on it.
Vampires.
So everybody's heading to the church?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, if you can, the guy the John the kinfolk, I think you said his name was?
Bill is the kinfolk.
Bill.
John is just a regular human. He's the guy that
Okay.
got attacked.
he's going to ask Bill the kinfolk. He's going to say, "We've got your friend. Can you go to where Moon's shadow lives and tell her that somebody's been attacked and tell her about the bite mark. Be very specific about the bite mark. Tell her
And
we're going to be at the church."
and he nods and says, "All right, I'll go as fast as I can." And he rushes off.
Always makes it harder when they're just humans.
Really?
Yeah, we can't tell them what we are.
True enough.
And when they get to the church, he's just going to stay out front by the door.
Okay.
But I hope that there's kinfolk inside.
Oh, Laz brought up a out of character question.
Oh, okay.
Should we have anyone search for the culprit, or are they likely gone to the shadows by now?
And that's what we're going to figure out in character in a minute here.
Yeah. First, you get as many humans off the streets as possible, because if there's going to be a supernatural fight, we've got to hide it as much as possible. Then, once the human that was affected by it is being taken care of, step number 2 is, what could have done it? What gifts do we have that might help us find it? Yeah, we're getting to it, Laz.
This is out of our scope, unfortunately.
All right, and as the four of you make it to the church and Adrian stands by the door, there are some kinfolk that immediately take the human and take him to a side room to be treated. And give me just 1 second. Let me pull out my notes. Yeah, we'll actually, yeah, we'll say Apollo's vengeance is there. We'll say Margaret is there, and she's busy making plans for the moot. And as the three of you come in and the kinfolk take the injured human over to a room on the side, to one of the infirmary rooms, she looks distracted, mostly by the sudden arrival. But she immediately asks as she joins you, "What's going on? Who's this?"
He's talking to you three. Adrian stayed outside at the front door.
Oh, I was like, so he does answer. He tells her, well, that guy has been bitten by a weird thing. We're not sure what. And he does a motion, like a clawing motion around his neck. Like he was bitten here, and the boss man thinks it's vampire? It's like he was not sure. He's he finished it with a question instead of an answer.
We don't know what it is. The person's stiff. He ain't moving. He's alive. Bite's still there. Typically it isn't. So yeah, we don't know what we're dealing with.
He's a normal person, as far as I know. So yeah. Weird mark.
Well, I don't recognize him, and I like to think I know most of the kinfolk. And Margaret, she moves to go and inspect the bite wound and just examine the human that was attacked. And she comes out and says, "Oh, it's not any vampire bite that I've ever seen, but from what I understand, just like how we have our different tribes, they have their own different tribes or groups or whatever word they may use for them."
Gangs.
I don't know
So
what
we got to figure out what we're dealing with then.
and more importantly, try to find it before he continues to attack not just the normal folk, but it might go after the kinfolk too. Whatever it is.
Yeah, and Margaret nods and she says, "And this close to the moot, not that any of the vampires would know about our things, but it's not the best time."
Or where would we even start to find something like this?
Can a third have a spell to track something like this? Or something similar?
Suppose.
I don't know. I don't know nothing about magic, so I'm just throwing stones here. Yeah, magic.
Guess you can call it that.
Well, potentially. There's a gift called Scent of the True Form that can identify mostly anything that's supernatural, like other shape changers, anything that might be anything that might be hiding its form. But
I suppose we can go back and ask some questions. See if anybody's seen anything in the area or something.
Better than standing here, at least.
I mean, yeah, true.
and
So ask the spirits in the area if need be.
you could ask the spirits. I didn't exactly want to reveal this, but until we know what we're dealing with, it may help. It may help with your search.
What?
When we fought off the vampires and purged the city, we didn't kill all of them. We had some help from a few.
From a few vampires?
Yes, they helped us. They helped us gather the worst ones up into one place, and then that's when we ambushed them.
Remind me of her rank again?
She's an elder.
Oh, son of a bitch. Alright.
Does that normally happen, ma'am? That we align with other creatures? Just a curiosity.
Not all the time, but none of you were here in the city 5 years ago. It was in rough shape, and we managed to track down the source of the problem to their leadership in the city. And in exchange for leaving our kinfolk alone and staying out of sight, and in exchange for not tampering with the operations of the city, we got help from a few of them that did not agree with what their leaders were doing. We keep tabs on them from time to time, but I know one of them lives near one of the sewage drainage pipes in one of the trash dumps, the garbage dumps.
And
I'll be right back. Isaac turns around and walks off to find Adrian.
And then as Isaac leaves, Heath asks to the elder, so you think that one of them may started to attack civilians and being kind of sloppy about it?
I mean, it's possible, but it's also possible that whoever attacked this human might be from outside the city.
Well, we'll see. We'll see what we can do. I would assume that's what Adrian would say. So, I guess we'll investigate around the area and see what we can find.
And she nods and she says, just remember, Heath, arrangements like this are the sacrifices that some of us urban Garu have to make. I guess from a certain perspective, in the large scheme of things, vampires are small and very low on the list of priorities.
Okay.
But some Garu and some tribes disagree with that strongly. So this is not a normal thing, but sometimes it has to be done.
If and when the time comes that we find whatever this is, I'm sure that we'll use our best judgment on the call.
And she gives a nod, and she says, I trust you will, and I trust Adrian will make the right call as well.
He usually does. So, if you excuse me, man, I'm gonna go and explain things to Adrian, since he decided to stay behind and look at some things.
And she nods and sends you on your way as she goes back to work on preparations for the upcoming moot.
Oh goodness. And so Heath leaves and tries to go outside the church, trying to find Isaac and Adrian and Laz.
Adrian's just standing out in the front.
Yeah, Isaac is...
staring down the street that they had walked down to come here.
Yeah, when he steps outside, he's gonna light up a cigarette, kind of side eye Adrian a bit. Hear any of that?
Yep.
Yep, we gotta talk.
Honestly, it's actually kind of offensive.
Don't think we should talk around here, though.
I mean, it has nothing to do with being city guru. Everyone knows that my tribe invented that shit.
Well, I can't say I agree with it. Pretty sure you don't agree with it. As much as I wanted to say something, I held my tongue.
The wise path.
Why do you think I walked out? Still an elder. Fucking ranking bullshit. Where's Laz? Laz is still inside, yeah. Heath is coming out.
Yeah, Heath is coming out. So he by that time, Heath will probably be right next to you guys after your conversation. Wonderful.
Who's ready to hunt a myth?
A myth.
Listen.
Yes.
Anybody that has... He checks around to make sure there's no humans walking by. Anybody that has any history with the vampires. I have never heard of a person getting poisoned by a vampire. and they usually hide their tracks. They can heal the wound on the neck. Why wouldn't they do that?
Desperation?
Desperation, what?
Not sure. I mean, could be hungry and just try to eat most of it, just leave the thing alive and just scatter before Lass's kinfolk came around the area.
Why wouldn't Laz's kin... If the thing was hungry, why wouldn't he just attack Laz's kinfolk and take them both? It can apparently immobilize its victim. It makes no sense to run away from one human while taking down a human.
So,
It doesn't make sense.
are we dealing with a snake creature, or a spider, or a lizard? What do you mean a myth?
Could be one of all three. Hell, it could be a Camazot.
What now?
It could be a Famor.
Well, we have to find out something instead of standing here speculating.
I can't believe I'm saying this, but I agree. We should probably do something about this, even if it's not on our...
We're going to go back to the alleyway where he was found. I will watch one side, somebody else will watch the other, another will take a high vantage point, Isaac, you'll shift. I think you've got the best nose, you're the best person to do it. We're going to see if you can catch a scent, a direction that it might have gone.
All right. He starts to go ahead and wander off, and as he heads into like a darker area, he'll go ahead and shift to Lupus. He looks like a big black dog anyway, or dingo, or whatever you want to call it, jackal.
Yeah, and they go to the alleyway.
All right. So as you guys take your positions, the alley is empty for now, except for you four, and it's late enough at night that it's pretty quiet. You do see the occasional passing carriage going by. Seems like maybe there's some party on the wealthy side of town that some of the rich are riding off to, and there's the occasional policeman that walks by, doesn't really pay too much attention to the alley.
All right. Well, he would head over to where the person was found and kind of sniff around a bit, see if he catches anything that's not, people or typical city filth. Just something that just seems out of the ordinary.
Okay. Do you want to do a perception alertness roll? And
alertness?
Yeah, perception alertness.
Yeah, give me a second. Gotta change that. There we go.
And then, do you have any gifts that might help out with that? If you want to use them.
Looks like the only thing I really have is his acute senses. No, that's vision. So yeah, it wouldn't work for him for sniffing.
Okay.
He still gets a -2. He still gets a -2 on difficulty anyway.
Okay.
Oh, did I fuck up? Hold on. Difficulty. Yeah, I'm good. Okay. So I got. Ooh.
Oh, you got 2 crits. So
yeah.
It's should be 6 successes. So yeah, so you catch a whole bunch of smells. You smell like some alcohol that was spilled earlier the other day. You find some old vomit that in the alley. But then you lock on to 2 particular smells. One of the human that was attacked, and then a second one. It smells like a perfume, like a very
perfume?
Yes, a perfume.
Huh.
And it's the 2 scents seem to go into the alley together, and then you can kind of pick up the trail where the human was picked up and kind of dragged off to the outside of the alley where you found him. But the perfume smell seems to scatter, and then it disappears.
Is there a way to follow it from where it came from? Like, instead of is there a trail, like a backtracking trail, since it seems to stop? Okay.
Yeah.
Because he will follow the backtracking trail to see where they actually came from.
Mm-hmm.
To maybe get a better idea of just maybe there's somebody that's in a brothel or a bar or something like that.
Okay.
Excuse me.
You follow the scent trail out of the alley and down the street, away from the market and the poor side of town, as as you're, I assume, kind of weaving through alleys and trying to avoid any of the street lights.
For the most part, I mean, he's assured that he doesn't really look like a wolf, so he looks more like just a stray dog of sorts, weird looking dog with Philodox.
Adrian's walking with him like he's
okay,
taking
that
his
works.
dog for a walk. They're not leaving the pack,
That
So
works.
yeah, Adrian's just acting like he's out taking his dog for a walk while his dog is actually his friend who is cracking a hoe.
All right, yeah, and you follow the trail for a while towards sort of the center part of the city, and you find yourselves in front of an apartment building that's right next to the movie theater, or I guess it would just be the theater. And it's this very normal looking apartment. Doesn't look run down. It actually looks very, very pristine and blends in with the rest of the kind of wealthier side of the city.
All right. Yeah. Once he got to the building, you just make sure that Adrian and whoever else is following, they just sit there waiting for them to catch up or figure out what to do from there. I think he wouldn't sit in front of the building. He'll more go off and probably one of the alleys so they can gather up again.
Okay.
Won't be so obvious about it.
And they catch up, meet him there.
I tell them this is where it starts. I don't know where it ended. It kind of just faded around where the body was, or where the person was. Grumbles and growls and body language.
He nods and peeks out at the apartment place. Are there any lights on?
There are a few lights. Well, yeah, there are a few lights on. This is sort of the kind of I guess artistic the artistic district of the city. So you do have a few artists that stay up pretty late, working by either candlelight or very small electric lights.
You know which one is the one you were following?
I got
exactly which apartment?
No clue. I would have to go inside.
Let's go inside. Let's see what door it is. See if we can knock on it.
All right.
Let's break and enter.
Why break and enter? Just knock on the door.
Oh, that's no fun. I mean, yeah.
He would lead them in then.
Okay.
As still in lupus.
Okay. But yeah, as you step into the building, as you're going up the stairs, you do see a spider on the railing of the stairs, just hanging out, skittering around, doing spider things.
A normal spider, tarantula.
It's a brown widow.
Oh Jesus!
Oh, that's gross.
He leaves it there for now. Keeps on walking up with Isaac.
Okay, yeah, and you go up a floor or two to where most of those lights are, and following the scent trail, you follow it to a door. There aren't any lights behind it, but you knock on it. There doesn't seem to be an answer, or there is no answer.
He waits a few moments for there to be an answer before he reaches out real slow and twists the doorknob, sees if it's locked.
It is locked.
Give me 1 second. I actually can do something about that. Aha! Okay. I don't know what the gauntlet is here. Where's my roll?
It's going to be pretty high. I'd say probably like a difficulty 8 if you want to cross over.
Okay. No, not crossover. I'm doing open seal to unlock the door.
Oh, okay.
So I'm gonna go ahead and spend the willpower for that, just in case. Submit difficulty 8. You said?
Yes. Yeah, difficulty 8.
Okay. I got 1 success anyway, so 2.
Okay.
Okay, take that off my sheet. Willpower. There you go. So all I have to do is just basically just touch the thing and it unlocks.
All right.
So
yeah.
he nudges his nose against the door.
So he just reached over, tried the doorknob, twisted it back. Isaac touched it. He turned the doorknob again and slowly opens the door. As if they'd done this before.
Yeah.
Yeah, the door opens to a very normal looking apartment. there's a few paintings on the wall, and these paintings are, I want to say, like they resemble like Renaissance era paintings, like the kind of like that those paintings that people put like the geometric spiral over. It's like they're all in some way like geometrically balanced, or what's the word I'm looking for? Um, I'm blanking on the word, but they're
Asymmetrical?
asymmetrical.
Okay. Or symmetrical, rather. Asymmetrical is the other, yeah.
Like geometrically balanced or symmetrical. And everything in this apartment is like clean, very clean and organized. And you step into basically the living room, and nothing really seems, nothing looks out of order. It's very organized and clean. Like even the small kitchen area where the stove is, it's almost like nobody has been living here. It's just perfectly clean.
Well, this is weird.
He steps in, takes a look around, kind of getting a feel for it, running this through his head.
While he does that, Isaac sniffs around again to see if he smells, like, is the perfume scent stronger or is it faded as if the person hasn't been here for a while? Or...
Yeah, it's faded.
Okay.
It's definitely faded. They haven't come back here. But you do see another spider kind of skittering across the wall.
Something just isn't sitting right here.
It's too clean for my liking.
He's going to sit outside for now. Just kind of keep watch. Make sure nothing comes.
Well, he isn't here. Let's go.
Nothing in there to figure out where they might be?
What are we looking for?
I have no idea.
No, he's not here. Don't worry about it. Let's go.
Okay. Can we
I
just
think it
go?
might be a she. I smelled perfume.
I said he. He is not here. Let's go.
Okay. All right.
All right.
He gets up and trots off.
I should have brought a tomato with me.
Why a tomato?
Because it stains.
What?
As soon as they all leave, he shuts the door and starts walking down the stairs.
Well, I saw my biggest nightmare.
Yeah, you're gonna go back to the church.
Okay.
All right.
And as the four of you are heading down the stairs and out of the building, you do see two more spiders kind of skittering upstairs. They're both brown widows, and they skitter past as they skitter past heading up as the four of you are heading down. But
Yeah, that just helps confirm it. Yeah, he keeps going.
And he just follows along confused.
but other than that, it is a very, well, a very quiet night as far as quiet goes in Saint Denis. And it's not long until you're back at the cathedral.
In front of the cathedral, he stops and looks at the other three and says, "We, all born as humans, can speak to wolves. The only reason I can see that you would want to live in a building that is infested with incredibly poisonous spiders is if you can speak to them. So when I make a 'he's not here' comment, I just wanted the spider woman to not think that we knew who the hell she might be.
Spider Woman?
I told you, it's quite possible we're hunting a myth.
Aren't we myth in some capacity as well?
Yes. So there are shifters that turn into spiders.
Wonderful.
I had personally hoped that it was all a great big joke and that they actually didn't exist. Spiders are poisonous. Spiders drink blood. She lives in a house filled with poisonous spiders. Because you all know as well as I do, if you see 3 spiders, there's 500 that you didn't. She'll know eventually that we were there.
Very clean for a Spider Queen. But what's her next plan of action then? If we all of us turn to know what she is, what he is.
She is probably a she.
She is.
See, when I tell people wrong information, it means that I'm letting them think that I'm looking for something that's other than what I was looking for. It's just misinformation for them.
I do wonder if this Spider Woman is part of the group that the Margaret was talking about.
Or we're way off base and it's a vampire. Shit, I don't know.
I mean, at this point, it doesn't make much of a difference. Who's to say that she won't continue doing, well, what she did to Joe? Yeah, Joe.
Yeah. Hey, Isaac, can you send your owl back to the apartment, see if there's anything going on?
I could, yeah. Yeah, he'll go ahead and do that and make sure that the owl's in the spirit world. Because yeah, having an owl go there physically would be not smart.
All right. All right. So you send your owl out through the spirit world back to the apartment.
Yeah, just to kind of stick there for a bit and let it know that God, what should I have it do? Just stay there until something shows up, or
Yeah, if anything happens, if something comes home, turns on the lights, starts to move around the apartment, becomes human again. Yeah.
Alright, yeah, he'll tell us to stay there until something shows up, and then immediately inform us when it does.
All right.
Man,
Sounds good.
That owl is awesome.
Yeah, I don't utilize it often because stuff and things.
I've never even thought about taking that
Merit.
merit. Thank you. Kept wanting to say attribute. I've never
Mhm.
actually thought about taking that merit. It's actually kind of cool.
All right. Yeah. So your owl flies off to keep an eye on the apartment.
Yeah.
Okay, Adrian's gonna go back in the church now to talk to the other 3 guys, not the one that was hurt.
All right.
The 2 homeless dudes and the kinfolk.
All right. Yeah. And so you see the three of them are basically just hanging out on one of the pews. They've got some hot bowls of soup.
So hey guys, your buddy in there, where does he like to spend his time?
I mean,
Where might he like to go to pick up a lady?
and one of them just says, "I think there's a brothel somewhere over by the theater, but I mean, most of us have a route we take when we're begging for money. So there's plenty of spots he could go. It just so happens he was over by the market tonight. Was trying to, I don't know, probably trying to find a place to sleep, a good bench to lie on."
Bench to lie on. All right, thank you. He's gonna go back to the pack. Yeah, he's smart enough to go after homeless people. This guy had nowhere to be. He was never normally anywhere. Shit.
Is that why she felt they felt the need not to cover their tracks?
You know, homeless people are typically homeless because their family isn't around, so nobody misses them. Maybe we should get them some money. I bet I could probably come up with a really good plan to get them to all beat the living shit out of each other, and people can bet on it.
Underground hobo ring?
I like the sound of that.
Laz, how do you feel about this?
You he's about to say, he was about to say, you do realize that we're talking about Laz's kinfolk, right? That we're gonna throw it to an underground hobo boxing ring.
Never mind.
Oh God. I think the better option would be once I buy that desolated land outside by Shady Bell, we could probably pick some of the homeless out and have them work in that farm so that they have a place to go, and it'll lessen the Spider Woman's feeding grounds. Still, the question still remains: where do we go from here? Now that we kind of know what we're dealing with, sort of, somewhat.
We're not sure yet. Like I said, they're kind of considered a myth.
I've seen zombies. I've seen moon people.
Zombies, ghosts, moon people,
I don't think
werewolves.
I don't think a Spider Woman's outside of myth anymore at this point. Even if, it's hard for me to believe that we like what we are have a thing called mythology, something that's a legend at this point that might not be real.
I mean, I've never seen one. I can't tell you if they're real, if they still exist, or if they ever existed.
I guess not grabbing a large newspaper to hit them with will be enough.
I highly doubt it.
This is way more complicated than it needs to be. All right, so I'm guessing we can't burn our way through this again. So I'll leave it to you. We're into the operation.
Where to go from here?
Hey, Lazlow, good buddy of mine. How would you feel about a little bit of acting practice. Yes, it's pretty simple. All you have to do is just dress up as a homeless and just walk around the city. We'll follow you in the shadows, and when whatever's attacking tries to attack you, we caught them in the act.
That's really a nice idea, except then you're giving a piece of bait that's 1 in like 2,000.
Well, I'm out of ideas unless we go to Moonshadow and see if she has any gifts or fetishes that we can use to find this thing. Ah! Sorry.
I'll step in a little bit and say that this is probably going to be a multi-day process or a multi-day problem to resolve.
Well, we're not gonna solve anything here. Why don't we just go home? We'll figure out this in the morning.
Well, I'm going to report it to the elder first. You guys can go home. I don't think that any of us will get attacked. I want to talk to...
I'm pretty sure my blood is mostly alcohol at this point, so they wouldn't get much out of me. Margaret? Yes, probably Margaret.
Yeah, Margaret.
Yeah, and she is there. She looks tired. She's going over just preparation related stuff for this rite. And as you approach, she says, "Adrian, what did you find out?"
Well, nothing concrete. We tracked its scent back to an apartment. I'm not sure it's vampire.
And she pauses a moment to think, and she says, "Do you think it could be another? Do you, bleh. Do you think it could be one of the other Pharaoh?"
Yeah, I think it's a spider. Like I said, nothing concrete, but we found where the man was attacked. He he could find where the man and woman walked into the alley together, and he could see where the woman, or smell where the woman walked off, but it just dissipates. Like she went into the Umbra or something. And we follow it back, and we find an apartment. And the apartment, I know it's not a ton, but I saw like 5 different poisonous spiders, all the same type of spider. Large enough to see and easy enough to kill, but they just don't seem to be bothered in that place.
Well, I'm glad that you were careful. If it is one of the spiders, we don't know any. We don't know if it is one of the spiders. I don't think we have a lot of information on them. All I know is the stories from the War of Rage, and all I know is that they're either mostly considered a myth or extremely rare.
Yeah.
I know one of the stories I heard is that they can step into the Umbras as easily in the city as we do in the wilderness. But other than that, I don't think I have any information that would really be of any help.
Yeah, well, if they're as crafty as they say, I don't think any of us will be able to find it unless it wants to be found anyway.
Yeah, that's very likely.
Unless it's a cub. Yeah, if it's newly shifted, I would assume that they shift like we do. Then maybe that's why it got sloppy and was caught.
Or maybe it was in the middle of doing something that took time and somebody almost walked in on it.
Possible.
Well, thank you for looking into this, Adrian.
You're welcome. We'll keep on chasing leads, see if it leads anywhere, and we'll keep you in touch.
And she nods and says, "Well, if you followed it to its home, I'm sure that by now it probably knows or found some sign of you passing through. So I think it'll be very cautious if they are as clever as the stories say. So don't expect a direct confrontation, but if you go through the Umbra in the city, I would be careful."
He might be out in the Umbra. Can they mess with the gauntlet? Are they able to? Well, you said you didn't know.
Well, if the stories are true, they are children of the Weaver. They could turn the Weaver spirits against us.
That would suck.
But from the sounds of it, you didn't try to kill any spiders or destroy its home, so I think we'll be safe in that regard.
No, didn't even break the lock. We just magically jimmied it.
Well, there we go. I think maybe it'll, I don't know. It might be more careful and stay out of sight, or it might try to contact one of us in some way. I'll be sure to to let the other packs know and to keep an eye out.
Okay. What about the human that was bit? Think he's gonna make it?
Well, from what I can tell, he's reasonably stable. He doesn't seem sick in any way. I have one or two kinfolk here that are gifted with gnosis, and they're keeping an eye on him, and they're going to see if they can heal him, get him talking, and see what we can find out.
Yeah, I'd be interested in having a description of her. All right, well, we'll tell you what we find in the coming days. Have a good night.
All right, you too. Have a good night.
He gets up and walks off.
All right.
Exits the church and starts walking home.
And I'm guessing everybody else is heading back home too?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah, Isaac's just staying in Lupus for now. Because
Okay.
he enjoys it. Just in case he also catches a scent somewhere.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and for the rest of the way back and for the rest of the night, things are pretty calm. Do you guys want to try to actively pursue leads over the next few days, or are you going to let it simmer for a bit?
The owl was told to stay there until
Oh yeah.
someone showed up. Yeah,
Oh yeah, I almost forgot.
it's alright.
Yeah, so it's probably a little past midnight after the four of you come home when the owl spirit comes flying back. And it says something came back into the apartment through the Umbra.
Through the Umbra.
I know it.
Oh.
He's not a vampire. He's a goddamn spider shifter.
Oh.
And how do we take care of a spider shifter?
Very carefully, I would assume. I guess we could burst in and say, hey, our people killed your people thousands of years ago. Go back to being obsolete. But I don't think it'll work.
I don't think that'll be taken very well.
We'll have an army of spiders before daybreak.
I don't think an army of those things even exists anymore.
Well, question is here, it's a shifter, right?
Yeah.
Is it part of the worm?
I think it's part of the Weaver.
I'm sorry, what? A shifter that's part of the Weaver.
I think it's a Weaver shifter. I mean, think about it. The pattern spiders, the human aspect of it, humans are Weaver,
That's true.
and it's a spider. You know what I mean?
So maybe it's less taking care of it and more of telling it to not be so obvious. I don't know how you take care of it. I've never even heard of a spider shifter.
I mean, if it's friendly enough, and if it's
Always heard that they all died in the War of Rage. So if we do meet it, we're quite possibly going to have a fight on our hands.
Well, we go in non-aggressively, let them know that they're in Guru territory.
I feel like that's not gonna go well if it's say that they're in Guru territory.
We'll never know until we try. Well, even not Guru territory, but let them know that, we have eyes out there, and if they're going to be attacking the people, we're going to have to look into it.
Go back to the apartment, see if she's still there. One more try. We have a conversation.
All right. Well, it can't hurt.
Yeah, well, this time we'll take the horses. It's faster.
Okay.
Okay. So you take the horses over to the apartment that's right by the theater. And going up the stairs, step, step, step. You do see another spider on the wall as you're climbing up the stairwell. And it skitters back up the wall, and you basically follow it to that apartment.
And it goes
tips his head at it.
goes underneath the door or something like that.
Yeah, it goes underneath the door.
Oh, this is strange.
Well,
there in
seems like
front
she
of the
knows
door.
we're here.
Lifts his hand and he knocks 3 times.
No, 3 times. Okay.
All right. Take the hat off. Be polite.
4 gentlemen callers. She gets her own.
Twice on the pipe. No.
And after you knock 3 times, you notice a light turn on behind the door, and a voice that speaks up on the other side and says, "Isn't it late to be making house calls?"
Generally, but we're both kind of night creatures anyway, so we might as well just talk while we can. That's all I want to do is talk.
And the door opens very cautiously as she opens the door and looks at the four of you, and she says, "Sorry, give me a moment. I just had a brain fart."
No problem.
But yeah, she opens the door and she says, "Well, it just so happens I was writing a letter. What did you wish to talk about?" And her voice sounds almost a little monotone, like she's putting a little bit of effort to put in some inflection. But she she eyes each of you up and down, very cautious, but also a little curious. And I'm gonna go put a picture in the voice box.
It's the chick for the ring.
He glances right and left, makes sure there's nobody walking down the hallway, and just kind of shrugs. He took his hat off, so he's holding it in front of himself, and says, "Well, we became aware of your presence when we found the man that we would like to. We believe you attacked, and now the elders of the Sept are getting involved. Can we come in and speak? No violence. Just no violence. I know I've got guns on. They're just for appearance."
And she nods very slightly. She looks very distrustful, but she does step back to allow the four of you to walk inside. And just like before, the apartment just looks very pristine and clean. The apartment looks very pristine and clean. There are a few chairs as well that I forgot to mention. And as the four of you walk inside, she closes the door behind you and says, "Go ahead and take a seat."
No, we're not gonna be long. Well, I'll stand. It's all right. Man, so many questions. So many questions. The man you attacked tonight. Was there a specific reason why?
Well, I will say it was related to my work. I have a number of various contacts throughout the city, and just like you have your rituals, I have mine.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
He wasn't going to come to any harm, but my work was interrupted. And
By what?
well, by somebody walking down the alley. I think the person in question must have recognized him in some way.
So do you need the guy back or anything?
Oh no, I can find him again if I need to, but I promise he won't come to any harm.
Well, I know there's differences in the. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie. I didn't think that your people existed anymore. I'm not to say I'm unhappy about it or anything, but would it be possible for you to go to my elder and announce yourself so that they know you're in the city? So if we find people like this again, we don't put out an all hands alert to go hunt you down and murder you because we think you might be a vampire or something.
I could send a message or a messenger. I would rather not make an appearance in person.
It's understandable.
Okay. I mean, it's completely up to you. I'm not quite like the rest of my tribe when it comes to certain things, so I don't think that you don't have a right to exist or anything like that. We would like to know though, are you like a weaver shifter? Because it's kind of weird to think that you'd be a weaver shifter because in our belief the weaver can't create, only the wild can create, the weaver gives form.
Well, my queen is a child of the Weaver, so I suppose in your perspective, I would be a Weaver's shifter.
Isaac's just looking, just utterly fascinated, listening to everything.
So does this mean you can turn into a spider?
And when you ask that, Heath, she looks at you. She has this like almost emotionless deadpan expression as she just says, "Yes, yes, it does."
I like her.
Whoa. See, I knew that so-called myths and legends is the same as us. Just a little out there. Although, you say you have a queen?
And she says, "Yes, I do, but that is perhaps a story for another time."
I would like to hear it.
Well, I suppose I can share it.
Wow, we're so good.
As part of establishing a truce between myself and your people here, since it would be very inconvenient for me to uproot myself and relocate for the sake of my work.
Well, if you're going to be keeping, if you're going to keep doing your work here, you might want to be a little bit more careful about it. That's the main reason why we're here.
We probably would have known you existed otherwise, to be honest.
Exactly.
I'll be sure to be more careful in the future.
You and the elders might be able to come to some sort of an understanding. It's possible that they might afford you a place to go to, or what is your work? If you don't mind me asking, I don't wish to be rude.
Well, more or less, my methods and goals somewhat align with yours. I seek to help bring a balance to the city. I arrived to the city shortly after a majority of the vampires were purged, and I have been slowly working on rooting out the corruption. The corruption of what you would call the worm, I call the corruptor. My queen...
And you're... Oh. Okay, go ahead.
My queen, as I mentioned before, she is trapped by the worm in Malpheus, but my kind are still able to communicate with her from a long distance. My work here is to root out the leftover corruption, which I do have a lead on that I will, if it suits you, I will present it to you by the end of the month.
Me, or to the elders.
Whichever you would prefer. Because my contacts, my web of information has informed me that the mayor is a former servant of the vampires that used to live here before the Garu purged the city of most of them. And I have been carefully planning a opportune moment to capture him. So I am willing to offer up his fate into your hands if I may be left alone in peace. And I will ensure that tonight's incident does not happen again. It was a reckless mistake on my part. A moment of overconfidence.
Well, we all make mistakes every now and again, don't we?
I prefer not to.
Well, it's usually safer if we don't, but it happens nonetheless. I didn't quite catch your name.
Yes,
if you feel like offering it.
My name is Ariadne.
Ariadne. Huh. Well, I live out at the plantation west of town. I can't remember what he named it, but he tells her the address or whatnot and says if you wanna send missive to the elders, you can send it there, and I will pass it on for you. And I just remembered something.
What's that?
I gotta check something real quick. I'm sorry. I'm trying to look through the book while talking.
No worries. Take your time. Oh, what are you looking for in the book? Maybe I can help.
Exactly what I need to do to cast Truth of Gaia.
Let me take a look. I think that's a Philodox gift specifically. Let's see. Truth of Gaia. Intelligence and empathy versus manipulation and subterfuge. Gift reveals only which of the words that have been spoken are true and which are false. Doesn't reveal the truth behind a lie unless the speaker utters it.
Yeah, so what she was saying there, I want to do that and see if he knows if she was lying or not.
Okay, so go ahead and do intelligence and empathy.
Intelligence 4. Well, there's 1. 2, 5, 3, 6, 3, 10.
Okay.
That's a shit roll.
Doesn't say a difficulty, so I assume it's going to be a difficulty of 6. So that looks like 3 successes. Then 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so she has you beat. As nothing is ringing out as a lie to you. So as far as your gift can tell, everything she has said is true. Or yeah, your gift doesn't ping off. It doesn't alert you if her words are true or not.
Okay. Yeah, so he just tells her to send the letter to his house and he'll take care of taking it to the elders for her. And they will go ahead and leave.
All right, and she'll nod and wish you a good night as the four of you leave. And as you leave, you are escorted by a spider that crawls on the wall.
Of course.
Creepy
nice.
as shit.
That's nice of her. She sent us a little goodbye present.
Well, it's not a goodbye present. It's just she doesn't trust you. Four of you could just rip her to shreds.
She could poison us to death, so it's okay. It's a fair fight.
No, it's not. It's not.
Oh, wait.
Mm-hmm.
The player rolls intelligence plus empathy. The difficulty equals the
Oh.
subject's manipulation plus subterfuge.
Oh, okay.
So my difficulty was
Was actually
7?
Do you want to re-roll that? Or... Oh, wait, no, actually, no.
No, I got two successes?
Yeah, 2 successes. And there's 2 crits, so that doubles to 4. So small retcon. The gift tells you that her words are true. She did not lie.
Okay. I had to read that like twice to actually understand it too. I'm getting old. All right, yeah. So he wishes her a good night and walks out, careful not to step on any spiders. And he walks out into the street, and then he stops and he just kind of gives a shake, like, ugh.
You okay there?
Do any of the rest of you just feel like you've got spiders walking all over you, even though you know that you don't?
No. Should I?
I do.
I mean,
Please. Woman gives me the creeps. She reminds me of my sister. No emotion. Nothing.
well, I mean,
Oh no, I find her kind of pleasant.
I'm sure you did.
She was very nice to look at, that's for sure.
She was a very nice person. You couldn't notice it with her the way she spoke to us.
Oh yeah, she is really pretty. She has an appearance of 5.
Out of 5?
That's like 5 dots in appearance. As Les speaks up and says, certainly not what I expected.
Well, we found out more about a Weaver Shifter, so that was nice.
Fucking Weaver Shifter, that's even more weird.
I mean, did our legend say that there's no such thing as a Weaver Shifter?
The Wyld,
There could be many things.
the Wyld creates, the Weaver gives form. The idea that we have more than one form is blasphemous to the Weaver. That's what makes us Gaian. That's what makes us creatures of the wild. The Weaver giving something more than one form so it can change is just, like I said, it's blasphemous. It's like cussing in church.
Maybe just things change at some point.
This being thousands upon thousands of years ago, before we, like I said, the War of Rage. Most of the people will tell you that we wiped them off the face of the planet. They no longer exist. I guess they're wrong.
I mean,
Man, that's kind of weird.
as long as
Talk
there's
to a
two
spider
survivors.
shift.
Yeah. I mean, as long as there's 2 survivors, then there's supposed, especially after thousands and thousands of years, there will amount to be more eventually. Not as much as Garou or maybe vampires, but they'll have their own small population. And we also learned that they have a queen at some place called
Malfeas.
Mouthpiece?
Malfeas, Malfeas. A lot of different ways to pronounce it, but it's all the same basic hell. Let's go home.
All right. Well, at least we found part of what we were looking for. What should we tell the others?
Well, I'm going to give Miss Ariadne a few days to write a letter for me to deliver to the elders, and if she doesn't, or I end up seeing the elders before she does, I'm going to tell them what we found and what my thoughts are on it. The typical stuff. Was she lying? Was she not lying? What did she say? That kind of thing.
That sounds like a lawyer thing, so I'm just gonna smile and nod along with your story.
Not a lawyer thing. It's more of a Garou thing. I used a gift on her to see if she was lying or not.
Was she?
Wouldn't you like to know?
Actually, I don't. I kind of don't. I just asking for formality's sakes.
As Laz says, wait, does that mean the bite was consensual?
Well,
I mean-
Laz, it might have been, and it might not have been. And I know this is a little bit Shadow Lord of me, but if we can get a shifter from the Weaver on our side to work with us, isn't that worth giving up a few humans that aren't kinfolk?
Shocking. You being saying a shallow thing, but you have a point either way,
Mhm.
especially since
Welcome to the dark side, little Silverfang.
hey, thanks. But even so, I mean, you said it yourself. People like her are very rare out in the wild. Who knows? Maybe one day we'll be able to meet their queen or communicate with her because we can't go to Matthias or Mouthpiece.
I don't think that would really be possible. You know, it could have been like that, Laz. He might have given her permission and didn't even realize it.
Let's just go home and figure this out in the morning. All this talk about weaving and the corruptor slash worm just gave me a need to drink. So off to your house.
Off to the house
Off to the house.
and the camp that Isaac usually stays at alone. They just throw wood on the fire and he just lays down on the thing, grabs his bedroll and says, "Fuck it, I'm sleeping outside tonight."
Nice and
Too
comfy.
nice of a night. Too nice of a night.
All right, and then I believe it's a week or two until the moot and the big rite that's coming up. The next few days are relatively peaceful. Adrian does get that letter from Ariadne addressed to the elders, and it's basically the same information that she told you. In the letter, she offers up this former servant of the vampires as a peace offering, as a truce between herself and the Sept.
That might be worth a little bit of extra honor and renown, huh? Yeah, so he goes to Margaret and he gives her the letter, and then after she reads it, he says what she said, and then he says that he, being the Philodox he is, did use the gift to tell if she was telling the truth or not, and she was telling the truth. Spirit approved.
And Margaret gives a nod and says, "Well, very well done, Adrian. I wasn't expecting to hear back from this spider changer so quickly."
I wasn't either, actually. But you just go in and you tell the truth, and they tell you the truth, and everything seems to work out okay.
Well, I suppose that's just, how it is when you change things up from the usual Shadow Lord tactics. And she's obviously joking. She's making a joke.
I guess I shouldn't have lied in that saying that either. You just have to go in and look like you're telling the truth, and then as long as they tell you the truth, everything's okay. All right, he tells her to have a good afternoon and gets out of her way because she's really preparing for the thing,
Yes, the thing.
the moot.
Yes. So a few days leading up to the big moot, the elders look for volunteers to help gather wood and branches and basically general supplies that are going to be needed for this big rite, this big ritual that's going to be basically the whole point of the moot. Would any of you guys like to volunteer?
Adrian will.
He's a volunteer as well.
Yeah, Isaac.
Okay. And I'll say Laz is coming along too. All right, yeah. So it's a pretty straightforward task of gathering wood, branches, sticks. Since the swamp is so humid, you actually take the moon bridge and go to the sept of the hidden ravine over by the reservation and gather the wood there and go through the forest picking out fallen branches and suitable pieces of wood along with a few of your fellow Garu from Saint Denis and also some of the Oktena. And Melting Snow is excited to see you guys helping out. She's very excited. And more or less that's how the next few days leading up to the moot go, as just preparation, a lot of practice for the elders of what the Uktena version of the rite entails, and more or less that's about it leading up to it.
Nothing wrong with a calm stage 4 of the moot.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be right back. I need to use the restroom real quick.
Oh, for sure. I'm gonna go use the restroom too, so I'll be right back.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
Now that we are in a break. Last, what the hell did you just put in the fucking place box? I just read that. Oh god. Okay. Yeah.
I love you. Laz, what are you doing making deals with giant spiders in video games?
Look, I wasn't gonna say that.
You didn't know she was a spider? And you didn't see the 6 other legs?
What I was gonna make note of is like during that time he would have gone back to her,
Oh, okay.
or Isaac would have gone back just to learn, just to ask her questions, get to know more about her type of creature, because he's a collector of knowledge, as it were,
Okay.
collector of the occult. Hi, baby.
Okay, sorry if I kind of spoke over
No.
you then
No, you're
earlier.
okay. No, I meant to say something when they were walking out. Like he was going to turn around and ask her if he could come calling one of these evenings, not knowing if she's a day creature, night creature, or whatever.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah. So we'll say that that Isaac does that, and he picks up like bits and pieces of Adanasi lore. They're very secretive, so she's very cryptic about it. Like she doesn't share that much, but she says enough to take up some time.
Yeah. He probably would have been like a tit for tat type of thing. He would explain something that she might want to know, and he would ask questions. So overall, he would seem very enthralled by the conversation and interested in learning more.
Okay. Yeah, I'd say as as you visit her again and again, you find out she keeps a very strict schedule. She doesn't like unexpected visits or unexpected things. So probably after like the first visit, she tells you to come back at a specific time and all that stuff.
Yeah, he would definitely follow through with that.
Mm-hmm.
Making a date with the spider girl.
Hey, he's very curious when it comes to stuff he doesn't know about. He's never met a weaver creature.
All right, and then you know what? I'll throw in some renown since this is like right before a moot. Give me just a second, cause let's see. Yeah, so everybody gets 2 honor for protecting a helpless human. And then I'm gonna say you all also get. Let's say 2 honor for helping 2 temporary honor for helping a helpless human, and also 2 more temporary honor renown for establishing good relations with one of the other shapeshifters, especially one as rare as the spider shifters.
Getting closer.
You getting closer? Not there yet?
Nope.
But yeah, speaking of renown, does anybody have any renowns to redeem?
I missed what you said. I heard 2 4 honor total, no glory, no wisdom, right?
Yeah, 4 honor total. 2 for helping a human, and 2 for meeting establishing good relations with a changing breed.
And 20 for Isaac keeping his mouth shut about the elder, even though he really wanted to say something.
We're prude of you.
That's a lot of wisdom.
We're prude of you.
Well, I could turn in wisdom for 1 more point of permanent, but I still need 1 more honor before I can get that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm gonna be more wise and honorable.
2 more glory.
It's okay.
So close.
We'll find glory somewhere.
If I get 1 more temporary honor, I can challenge for rank.
All right, so Actually, you know what? Since I think I've kind of mentioned that that you guys have been helping with patrolling the sept and defending it, or that's what the elders asked you to do. So you actually get one more point of honor for doing that, performing regular duties and chores for the sept.
Oh, I guess I'm ready to turn in my honor sheet.
Wait, what?
I'm ready to turn in my honor sheet.
So one more honor
Oh.
for just doing chores and regular duties during the month.
So 5 total.
Yes, 5 total.
Okay, so I can turn in honor and wisdom and challenge for rank.
Yep, see. I can turn the honor and challenge.
I can only turn honor, but no challenge. I don't think. I keep forgetting the list that tells you what you need to level up. I know it's somewhere in the resources, but I'm not sure.
I actually have the page open. Give me a second.
I
For
think
an Elrond to become a foster, it's 4 glory, 1 honor, 1 wisdom.
Oh, whoops.
You're good on wisdom.
Oh, I'm good at wisdom and honor. I'm good on both.
Keep in mind to get rank after that, it's 6 glory, 3 honor, 1 wisdom. So you're still gonna need the wisdom and the honor. And hell, to become an elder, you're gonna need 10 glory, 9 honor, 4 wisdom. So Elrond aren't very wise.
Well, so I have enough to cover my 2nd and 3rd level. Yay me.
You have enough to become 3rd rank?
No. I mean, like for the
Wisdom.
Glory, yeah, for wisdom and honor. I have enough.
That's good.
I have enough, or will have enough for 2 ranks. I just need the glory part to compensate for it.
Well, you have enough for now. You can end up doing stuff and get punished for it. So
that's
for
right.
now, you have enough honor and wisdom for 3rd rank. Just
For the moment.
for the moment.
We might change that. We might fuck up real good and change that.
I'm surprised we haven't fucked up already and try to change that.
Damn. 2 more honor and I could have 4th rank.
All right. So
Anyways.
yeah. So anyways, for the moot comes and everybody crosses the moon bridge to the sept of the hidden ravine. There are a few that stay behind, but mostly just for the defense of the sept. And so renowns are recognized. Go ahead and add the permanent dots, and then stories are shared, and the moot proceeds just like any other. And so there's a few Uktena stories that are shared. A lot of them join in games. There's a few climbing contests. A few people are like seeing a few Garu are seeing who can reach the top of some of the trees first. Others are climbing the cliffs of the ravine in races. Is there anybody that wants to join in on any of those?
Why don't they just grow their wings and fly up to the top?
Oh yeah, we're in the Umbra.
Well,
Wait, are we?
You are actually not in the Umbra, not over by the reservation.
Oh,
In the
okay.
city, you have to be because there's so many humans around. But out here, you're just in the regular physical world.
Oh, okay. I was like wondering.
That's
like,
why.
Are we in the Umbra? Like I don't remember that part. But yeah, Keith would do his usual, like joining into the fighting ring.
Okay.
I guess it's just become a tradition, whether win or lose, to join into the fighting ring.
Oh yeah.
Adrian's so weak he people watches.
People watch. No debating.
No.
We'll see.
But yes, Laz, to answer your question, there is tree climbing, rock climbing.
To climb some trees.
All right, Laz would like to tree climb. Okay.
Go, Laz, go! Wave a little flag.
All right. So Laz, let's go with do a strength and athletics roll for me as you join in on the tree climbing, and you also see melting snow is part of the contestants, one of the contestants, and she's excited to see you, and she says, "Hi, Laz, ready to climb some trees?" Yeah, Laz, as you say, yeah, that's what I'm here for. Melting snow shifts into her Hamid form, and she bounces on her feet a little bit as she kind of tries to shake off the weird feeling of being on 2 feet, and she says, "All right, well, we'll see how well I can climb in Ahmed." All right, then Laz, give me strength and athletics. All right, so that's one success. As you start climbing, and there are a few other Garu that are getting ahead of you. Melting Snow is one of them, as she just climbs up the tree really fast. So let's roll again for part 2. And we'll do like a 3-stage thing, and we'll count up the number of successes. 1, 2, 3. All right. All right. As you probably reach the middle point of the tree, you start to close the distance between you and Melting Snow, but she's pretty far ahead in the lead. And then let's do one final roll. All right. And let's see. All right, as you're climbing up the tree, very quickly you catch up, and Melting Snow is like just ahead of you, and she reaches for a branch that can't support her weight, and you watch as it snaps, and she starts falling. And she's near the very top of the tree as she starts falling, and you watch as she's trying to grasp for basically anything she can get a hold of. But she activates one of her gifts and slams her hand up against the tree, and you see her like slide down to like the bottom third of the tree as her gift activates, and she sticks onto it by one hand, and she starts kind of climbing back up again. And you reach the top, Laz. You have beat Melting Snow. And as you climb back down the tree, Melting Snow just catches her breath and says, "That was a good race, Laz." And Laz, as you say, "Woo, sure was. You okay? That was a scary fall." And Melting Snow nods, and she shows you her hand as you see like her fingertips and her palm look like they have these like really tiny, minute hooks, kind of like a lizard. And she says, "Yeah, I'm okay. I have a gift that helps me climb onto stuff. I wasn't using it in the race, but it helped me catch myself when I fell." And Laz, as you say, that was quick thinking then. Glad you're okay. And Melting Snow just nods and says, "Yep." And she shifts back into her wolf form, and she says, I would have been okay either way. I could have shifted into Krynos or something else, but since I was born a wolf, my human shape can take quite a bit of hurt. I'm tough." And as you say, "That's good then." And Melting Snow nods and says, "Well, I'm gonna go see what else is going on. I'll catch you late. I'll find you later, Laz." And you say goodbye to her, and she runs off to the next event. All right, Heath. So you are in the fighting ring, and you are paired up with one of the hidden ravine Garu, a Wendigo named Red Cloud, and he is a lupus-born Garu as he shifts into his Glabro form and cracks his knuckles.
Come on then, let's get started.
All right, go ahead and do a dexterity brawl roll for me.
Dexterity. Let's see. Dexterity roll.
All right, and then let's see. All right, as you crit and get the upper hand in basically the first round, he does not give you any mercy, but you catch him by surprise as he gets 3 successes to your 5. All right, let's go for part 2. All right, so 1, 2, 3, so 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, so from the start you had the upper hand on him, but then he manages to turn the tables around, and he is, yes, and he manages to turn the tables around as he starts kind of getting the upper hand, throwing punches. He even throws in a kick, and he goes in pretty ruthlessly. He doesn't even risk wasting a moment to give you a chance to breathe. And then let's go for round 3. Alright, so 2 successes against your 3, and in the end you prove victorious. Would you like to describe how you finish off the match?
So he's moves around in feints. He uses his body to try to move around his opponent, and on the last second he goes behind what's it called? Red Cloud?
Yeah, his name is Red Cloud.
He goes behind Red Cloud and places his arms around his midsection. And taking a page out of his cousin, he basically slams him on his back. A fucking God, I forgot the name of the move. No, somersault. That's the somersault. God, what is that wrestling move?
Like a suplex where you go over backwards and drop him on his head?
That's it. That's what it's called. A suplex. So he suplexes him.
Okay. Yeah, as you give him a suplex and you hear a few bones break, and as the two of you are kind of split apart for a few moments to each catch your breath, and you watch as like the bruises from the broken bones on Red Cloud's body heal up pretty quickly, and he gives you a nod and offers a handshake as he says, "Good fight."
And Heath reaches out and accepts the handshake, and he says, "Had a time of my life. Thank you."
And he gives a nod, and yeah, you get the feeling from him that he probably doesn't like you, but he at least respects you, at least in the fighting ring.
Wouldn't be the first time. looks at my pack mates, and he does like get like the message, and he lets go, and he still has a grin on his face because of the adrenaline that fighting gives him.
Mm-hmm.
And he like waves at Adrian like, "See, are you proud of me, Pa?"
Yeah, he just shakes his head.
All right, and then is there anything that Isaac and Adrian want to do?
Nah, nothing comes to mind.
Okay.
He's all set with just the rink thing. That's pretty much it.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's just the ambient noise of the mood. That's all there is behind me. That's all.
Yeah. Jumping
pretty
and
much.
running and all that other stuff is not Adrian's little 2 dots in strength. Is not for him to do.
Yeah.
He
Okay.
tries not to argue politics too very much, because then people end up seeing how much of a shadow lord he is, and he's trying to hide that from most everybody. Yeah, he's just not sure if this is the right time or place to challenge for rank, so he won't do that yet.
Okay. But yeah, and from there the moot proceeds as normal. There's a few stories shared. The Philodoxes have, spend some time debating the litany and discussing Garu law. And the Galliards share their stories and some of their performances as the Bonars and Uktena try to one-up each other with their stories. And the moot proceeds as normal, and then towards the end, that's when the Rite of the Winter Winds begins, as the Uktena lead the ritual, and they start to light these bonfires as everybody lines up and is handed a torch. And Adrian and Isaac, I'd say you both are probably familiar with the Rite of the Winter Winds. It's the seasonal rite where the Garu empower the sun so that the sun can rise again for another year.
Mm-hmm.
And up to this point, that's the Uktena version is pretty similar, as the Rite Master speaks up as everyone's gathered everyone has their own torch. And he says, we are gathered here to guide Helios back into the sky. The nights have grown longer, and the coldness of the dark grows stronger. Helios has grown weary from his work of traveling the sky, but it is with this rite that we offer him our strength to continue traveling the skies and giving us the warmth that we need to survive, that we need to fight the worm. It is tonight, the longest night of the year, that he needs our help more than ever, or else the world in Gaia descends into darkness forever. So we must descend down into the dark places, the cold corners of the earth, and guide Helios into the sky. His time of rest is over and the worm draws close to strike. Come with me, Garu of the Hidden Ravine and the Emerald Marsh. Come with me and we shall carry the sun on our backs and lift him into the sky once more. And he leads the way, and the Garu gathered head, along with you guys, head west to an old cave system. It's near the ruins of an old mining town that's mostly fallen apart. As you go into the mine system and just scatter into the mines, as you find these a nest of banes of greed and gluttony that were most likely carried by the prospectors and miners that sought the riches and either abandoned the town or perished due to a cave-in. And of course, with a herd of 20 or so Garu, the Banes do not stand a chance, as everybody carries the torches and lights up and carries the torches through various parts of the mines. And going through the mines, you enter this old cave system. And through this old cave system, you find these old cave paintings showing scenes of hunts and battles and faded old remnants of the natives that used to live in this land. And as the group reconverges together and the Uktena lead the way out of the cave system, all of you are met with the sight of the sunrise. And that is when some of the Garu start howling to greet the sun. And then everyone starts to join in.
Ow.
And from there, the mood is concluded as everyone celebrates and starts to make the journey back home.